Wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. Some of you were here like 3 minutes to the hour. I am so excited. My name is Miss Linda. And just to make sure we are in the right place, you've signed up for the Connected Again live masterclass, where I will share my 7-step guide for successful married women so that you can be able to feel connected, renew emotional intimacy, and just start afresh in your marriage. So I am super excited. I cannot wait for all the ahas that we will experience throughout this. And let me know if you're ready. I know some of you are at work and some of you are transitioning from, the workplace to your home. So wherever you are, some of you, I know you could be driving. I get that a lot for some of my master classes. Some of you are in the car driving. So I just want to let you know that it is perfectly okay. Do not put yourself under any more pressure to want to listen to everything perfectly. The most important thing is you have showed up and you are here. So I want us to do just a very brief practice because having to move from your workplace now winding out down the day, I just want us to center ourselves. So wherever you are, I want you to make sure you're seated firmly on your chair. And the reason why I want to do this brief practice is so that you can be here and right now. I want you to call your energy back to you. I know there are to-do lists. I know you're in between stuff going on. And one of the things that may stop you from really absorbing this information is having scattered energy all around us. So just make sure you're comfortable on your chair. If you need to get a mug or something warm, this is my hibiscus tea. I'll sip on it as I talk through. If you need a pen and paper, make sure you have it. If you have your phone, please put it on silent. Make sure you're muted so that we keep the flow going. And I just want you to take a pen. I know most of you have a pen and paper. And I want you to have a look at it. Just really, really look at it. Notice the words on it, if there are any words. Mine has the word pentonic written on it. And I want you to have a look at it. Look at your pen, really look at it. Notice the color, notice the shape. Notice the lid. Does it have a lid or is it not there? Is it tight? And the reason is this is a very simple way of bringing you back to here and now, the present. And I know for some of us, by the time we're showing up for a masterclass like this, our marriages are in a bad shape. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety that, oh my God, what if nothing works? What if things never get out of how they are, uncertainty about the future. And what that does is it puts your energy outside of you. It makes you not be present and absorb what is going on here. And for the next 1 hour, I want you to focus on you. The only thing we can control right now is you. And if you feel your marriage is in a bad shape, you are in the right place. That is why we are here. And there is no shame. You're not a failure. I know we are very smart, very driven. We like to fix things. We like to solve things. In my rule book, there's no failure, only lessons and growth. So With that, I just want you to shake yourself and come back to your screen. If you have a pen and paper, feel free to take down notes. And for the next 60 minutes, I will take you through three things. Some of the most common mistakes that I see career-driven wives making with their men, and it really does kill the emotional connection and intimacy and what you can do. I will also share my very practical seven-step approach to being close again and getting the love you deserve and getting your needs met in 12 weeks or so. And I will also show you how to switch from the survival starter wife mode to really thrive and be happy and healthy and grow and elevate in your marriage in a very sustainable way. So I want you to take your pen and paper and ask yourself, what's your intention for the next 60 minutes? You can even feel free to drop your intentions in the chat because I will eventually come round and see if this is exactly what you got out of it. Feel free to drop your intentions and I will look at them right at the end. So if you're ready, just drop a yes because I'm really excited. I am going to show you a very practical way of how to be reconnected with your man. And I want to tell you, it's really not your fault. Sometimes I feel like I had to go on a journey. I think we all go through very different journeys in very different areas. For some of you, maybe you could have gone through a health crisis. For someone else, it's a financial crisis. For me, it was a relationship crisis. And what I know is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You are doing the best you can with what you know. However, what I've learned is all marriages go through a period of a distance. However, if you do not do anything about it, it will spiral out of control until it breaks. So do not blame yourself. Do not shame yourself for not having the knowledge. Not all of us grew up seeing healthy relationships. So just feel at ease and know that it is okay. We are all growing and learning. So I want to ask you a few questions because if you're in this class, I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you want? I speak with so many women. I know what you don't want. I know you do not want arguments, you don't want fights. But what is it that you really want? And as I read this, I want you to feel what I'm reading and ask yourself, what is it that I want? Do you want to enjoy presence with your time? Your hubby spending real, meaningful time with you? Not just him sitting there on the couch, but being engaged with you and the kids? Do you want more romance, emotional connection, gifts, trips, sparks in the bedroom? Is it that you want less fights, you want great communication to the point where you look forward to talking with him at the end of the day, where you just have a nice conversation on the dinner table, you guys watch TV together, like a well-existing peaceful relationship? Or is it that you want to feel prioritized, knowing that yes, his work is important, his friends are important, but you too, you and your family are also important to him so that you can feel valued and supported? Or do you want to be fully provided for, even though you are working at your 8 to 5 job, because your man sees you like a woman who he wants to take care of, not just a roommate or a transactional partner that he is responsible for? Or is it that you want to feel like a team again, such that you are partners where it's not just you carrying the parenting and home responsibilities on your own. You feel like you are together, you are supported, and you are a team. I want you to reflect on this. And as you're reflecting on this, drop one or two, whatever it is that you want. Share with that, share in the comments so that we know what it is that we are working towards. And my suggestion is this, even as you're reflecting on, and I'll give you just a minute, on your notebook or on the chat, I want you to write the top 3 things it is that you want from your hubby over the next 3 months. Because when you are clear on your desire, what tends to happen is as women, we like to talk ourselves out of our desires. I need you to be clear. I need you to be able to express it. I need you to be able to speak it and know that it is safe. You are allowed to want what you want. And it does not matter whether you've not seen any other woman around you enjoy the kind of relationship that you want. It does not matter even if people tell you, oh my God, you bagged a good man, you had a glamorous marriage. As long as your husband comes back home, that should be enough. No, I know in your heart you want more. So look at this as your permission slip to own your desire. So let me see. Have you jotted that down? Are you sure? Not, are you sure? Okay, great. So I want you to keep these 3 desires all through as we go along this session. So, like I started to mention, you're not asking for too much. And I know this deeply. I remember there was a time I used to be so embarrassed that I wanted a wealthy, healthy, generational legacy. That time I was a 50-50 wife. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like I needed to just be grateful. You have a great job, you have a car, you have a home, but I wanted more. And if you do not have the 3 desires that you've written down, it's not that you are not worthy. It's not that you're not deserving. The issue is in the approach of how you're going towards it. Let me say this again. It's not that you do not deserve your desires, because for as long as you have a desire, actually, if you look at the root of the word desire, it means from the stars. From the stars, which means it is from God. So if it is in your heart, you are meant to have it. So let me say this again. It's not that you are not worthy or not deserving of your desire. It's not that you're expecting too much, because these are some of the things I have a lot of conversations with my one-on-one clients. It's not because of that. It's just that your approach is wrong. Okay. And the good news is that once you are aware that it's an approach issue, it opens you up to knowing that there is a solution. Okay. And at the very end, I will be honest, I will offer a way of how you can work with me moving forward. And I will share all those details right at the very end. Okay. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, why should I just listen to some babe from Instagram or TikTok, wherever it is that you followed me from? Okay. So let me introduce myself. My name is Miss Linda, and I am a feminine energy marriage coach. I gave myself this title. And what I do, I help career-driven wives start afresh. I help them start afresh and create peaceful, connected, intimate marriages so that they can create generational legacies free from emotional pain. And my work has impacted so many women. I mean, from Instagram, from TikTok, from YouTube. And I am also a certified sex, love, and relationship coach very recently. And yes, my hubby paid for that. Okay. So if you want to be fully provided for and still pursue your purpose, your career, whatever, I can help you. Okay. And why is this important? I'm not just an influencer with a hot take. Okay. And I'm also a wife. Actually, this is my 15th year of marriage. I have a son, 11 years old, and I am in my empty nest era at 43. So, yes, I think for me, this relationship work becomes so important because I know it may seem a little bit far off, but when you are at a place where our son is in boarding school, so every evening it's hubby and I on the dinner table together, just the two of us. So, really, the quality of your relationship is not just for now, it's for your future. Even if it looks like your future is way off, things can happen. Your son can get opportunities, your kids can get opportunities that make them leave you. And really, it's just confirmed to me the purpose of a relationship, to me, in my opinion, is to help you to self-realize. It's not so that you can be a good mother or a good wife. No, it's supposed to be a safe space where you self-realize and you grow and you evolve throughout all the stages. Okay. But yes, I have all these credentials. My certification is, if you ladies know Layla Martin, she's like the headmistress of pleasure herself. So I did her certification program, and I'm still investing in my own personal growth. I have other coaches and support, women who support me through this journey. The important thing is I do not do this alone. I also get support as a woman. Okay, but all that being said and done, my number one credential is my own personal story. And I will continue to talk about this story because I think more women need to share their success stories. I saw on TikTok, was it on Instagram, there was this conversation about why happily married women gatekeep their marriages. And I've really been wanting to give my perspective on this. First of all, not everyone is called to pursue being a relationship coach. No, it's not everyone's calling. But I think the more we share our own stories, the more we impact the world. What happened when I said I do 15 years ago, I was my hubby's everything. Yeah. That man literally drove through the storms to come pick me up. And on that night, he proposed to me. I was his everything. And I'm sure you ladies can relate if you look back to your own stories. I had a high flying corporate career. I've worked at Coca-Cola, I've worked at Nestle, I've managed budgets worth hundreds of millions. I've looked after sub-Sahara Africa in marketing, 30 countries. I've done the corporate grind. That's why I really can connect to the career-driven woman because I was her. Of course, I've been retired from that corporate grind for now, but I understand you. Okay. With an MBA, and with time, I just started to feel so much anger. I was going through a lot of constant arguments with hubby. We used to go for date nights. Now he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing. I really felt like I was being unloved. And I remember I would chill at home because, I mean, after you become a mom, even if you used to party, you will not party the same way. And I remember, having many sleepless nights, knowing and thinking that, oh my goodness, I am showing my son a dysfunctional relationship. And I really felt trapped. I had a heavy energy. Even just with my attitude, I was so angry. I was so heavy. Even in my weight, it manifested also in my weight, by the way. I was almost 100 kilos. And all this while, I thought I was a good wife because I was loyal. I was going to work. I was helping with the bills. I was making sure the home is taken care of. If my son had an issue in school, the teacher would call me and I would leave the boardroom meeting and go and attend to it. On paper, I was a good wife. But then I realized they lied to us. I don't know why they don't teach us this. They don't teach us to look at our personalities. I quickly started to feel like, no, this was not working to the point where I got separated because I was tired of all the constant arguments. And that was when I was 39 years old. And I think that was maybe like my midlife crisis point because my mom was also dying. So everything was just coming to an end. And I remember waking up in my bedroom. Yeah, I got it was like a three bedroom flat. I'd moved away. And I was so scared because I didn't want to get divorced. And I remember going to a coach. There was one of my coaches I'd been following for a really long time. And I really wanted help. I just wanted somebody to tell me, what the hell am I doing wrong? I was so scared. And she told me, it's okay, Linda, relationships don't work. Yeah. So you go ahead and it's fine. The time for your marriage is over. It's okay. It's normal. You get a divorce. But I sat down and it was not making sense. We all know the kind of families we come from. We all know what we have grown up seeing. And to me, it was not making sense. And that's what sparked the journey. I started getting books, courses, programs. I absorbed so much information because I was also on my personal development journey. Because it was not making sense. How can two people who loved each other to death now be feeling like about to throw away their 10-year marriage? And people come to me and they're like, oh, Linda, maybe separation works. I'm like, babe, are you crazy? I tell you I was separated so that you do not have to. If by the time you're getting separated, your relationship is on the rocks, why do you want to add the complexity of separation? Why? In fact, sometimes I think you might as well get divorced if you're really sure you do not want this man. Separation is painful. You are confusing your child. My son started getting bullied. He lost his self-esteem because he was having to shuttle between two homes. I look at all these women who are playing around with their relationships and I cry for the children because I was that girl who used to look at my mother and I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to have a marriage like that. Yes, they had their relationship the way it did, but I just used to say, oh my God, God, give me a relationship. I want to do it differently. So, what I'm telling you here is that separation is not the way. Okay? You waste so much money, you confuse your children, and the worst thing of all is you yourself are confused because you do not know whether to stay or leave. And what helped me was understanding what is my role in this. Because one day I asked myself, Linda, even if you get a man 10 times wealthier than your hubby, what will you do so that you do not land where you are right now? And I did not have an answer. That is when I realized I had a role and I had to change my approach. And that is why we've been reconnected 4 years in, and I feel the safest I've ever felt since I said I do. So for me, this work is not just, yes, I get highly rewarded by my one-on-one clients, but really, this work means a lot to me. Okay, so I have worked with so many women. I've had the pleasure of working with so many women from all over the world, Kenya, SA, Nigeria, UK, US. And really, my desire is to show you that it's possible to get that deep, fulfilling love that you desire in your marriage. It is possible. I've spoken a lot. I want that to sink in for a minute. Would you want to be in a relationship that feels like a warm, fluffy blanket? Like you can be able to post the picture of your hubby, wherever and wherever. I know maybe you may not have 70K followers like I do, but you want to be able to say, this is my man, and know that you will not receive a DM from a stranger claiming all types of things. Would you want that? Just drop a yes and know that it is possible. Okay. So, as we dive right in, I want to talk about the three mistakes that corporate working wives make that really does kill attraction and connection with your hubby. And wives do this unknowingly. And this, of course, once you do this, you end up feeling like he doesn't care and feel so unloved. Okay. So the first mistake is they having too much emphasis on discussions about your marriage issues. Okay. You want to resolve everything. You want to tell him 5 o'clock in the morning, where were you? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? All these conversations. And I usually shy a lot about talking about communication because we will cover communication right at the end. But I just want to ask you, if you think about this logically, all those talks you've had in the bedroom, how how is that going? How is that going? Because without the right emotional energy, these repeated discussions is just like blaming and criticizing, and it just continues to kill connection. And what eventually happens if all the time is just problems after problems after problems, of course, you start to know, you'll have the sense that you're nagging, he will start to associate you with stress and pressure. So what will happen? You will find this is now when men start to move out. They're overworking, they're overdrinking, they're doing anything and everything other than sitting with you. So when you stop having this tight energy of wanting to discuss about the relationship, where is the marriage going? Why are we doing this? Why are we not doing that? Once you stop doing that, you become a safe space where he is able to come and open up to you. And this will lead to very natural emotional connection. And from here, you're able to resolve issues. So this fix it, resolve it, tight energy where it's just problems after problems after problem. And I know we are smart because, I mean, wives are paid to solve problems. Even me right now, my clients pay me to solve problems. So it's a very logical way that just kills attraction and it associates you with stress and pressure, and nobody likes. People run away from pain and move towards pleasure. Okay, so that's mistake number one. So here are just some testimonials. Some of the ladies who put some of my implemented some of my tips and some of my work. This babe, at some point she really doubted that her hubby saw her or noticed her, and this happens a lot. And she slowly started to take her some of my tips and implement them, and she start for from nowhere. It turned out like a surprise. She even went to a party and the man was, her own Abby was fighting for her attention. Okay. And she's now getting staycation, date nights, all the things she used to have conversations over and over again. Guys, I've been there. Where you're wondering, does my hubby even know my bra size? Like, you can't even remember the last time he gifted you a lingerie set. But once she started to release a lot of this nagging energy, she's getting everything she wants. and she's seeing all the shifts. This other lady, she had been feeling very, very lonely. And in fact, this was a challenge that we had. And during that period, she just woke up and told me intimacy had gone out of the door. And it happens. All marriages, they go through that patch. And from nowhere, you know that feeling where you are wondering, am I even attractive? And right now, she just messaged me and said, Linda, I had the best intimacy yesterday. And all she had to do was switch up a few things. So that's what happens once you start to shift your energy as a woman. The second mistake many career-driven wives make is operating in your overly independent energy. You're handling everything for yourself. I recently did that video, and these are clients that I work with. You're a busy mom, you're a busy wife, you're leading everywhere. So what starts to happen is that not only is that wounded energy, but you do not want to let go and receive help. Why? Because you think you're being weak. You think that opening your heart is being weak. But hyper independence is, and I'm not shaming this masculine side of you because it is what has led you to survive. Your MBAs, your career, your everything, you are here because of that side. But what starts to happen is, and you know, it starts early. It starts even from when you're planning your wedding with the budgets and all that side, it's activated from a very early stage. And usually we are praised for doing this. But what starts to happen, slowly you start to notice your hubby is not even initiating to ask you for any help. So all of a sudden, even like fixing the car, doing the groceries, the small, small things, he does not because he in subconsciously in his mind, he starts to see you as his roommate, as his tough business partner, and not someone who is like a soft space who he can come and just shower and pour. And let me tell you one of the biggest secrets I learned. Men fall in love by doing things for you. And this is the complete opposite of what we have been taught. We have been taught make the home work. Take care of your husband. That's what we have been taught. What that has done, it has positioned so many wives and mothers like men. And let's not even get started. You are in your heavy masculine energy at work. Motherhood is masculine energy. It is not soft. Me looking after Benaiah, my son, telling him about his homework, about his swimming stroke, about why is he fighting with whoever. What taking care and nurturing a human being is masculine energy because I am in my brain. So that is why I see for us as wives, at least for me, one of the biggest things that has helped me to balance myself is embodying my feminine energy. I know when to be in the driver's seat, like now, and I know how to release and surrender. We are supposed to be in balance. So once you continue being in this masculine independent energy, you start to know your hubby is no longer interested in doing things. Before you know, you're the one who's pushing, asking him when is the holiday, oh, when is rent due, when is what. And I also think that, yes, some of my clients, they are providers. And I always say, fine, if you are happy providing for your hubby, because I have very successful women, you need to understand he needs to be providing for you in other ways. Okay. Whether it's emotional, whether it's intimacy, he still needs to feel like a man. And we do this because we do not trust men. So once you stop being in your overly independent masculine energy, taking care of everything, handling yourself, even the other day when I talked about the waking up early, taking your kids to school, and then going to work, then making sure you're home by 4:30 so that you can be a mother. And I saw I actually lost my temper. I just had to cool it down. Some husband was there saying, but they are nannies. Career-driven women have nannies. I almost lost my marbles. Who is controlling, who is managing those nannies? Who? Is it your husband or is it you? So there's the invisible labor, and I immediately felt really sorry for his wife because she probably has shown this man that she can take care of everything. Okay, so once you stop being in your over masculine energy, independent, strong, sufficient, your man will step up. He will provide for you. He will want to protect you, even when he is with your in-laws, with his parents. I've had scenarios where I'm really sorry, but my mom-in-law was a bit rude. I felt quite offended. I have a wonderful mother-in-law, but in that instant, she hurt my feelings. She made a comment about my mothering skills, how I'm raising the grandchild. And I actually stood up from the table and I excused myself. And my hubby followed me. And he listened to what I said and he said, "You know what, babe? Let's just go. It's okay, let's go." Your man and you are supposed to be a team. If you do not feel shielded, there's a way you've positioned yourself. Because another man would have come and talked to me and told me, and in fact, he probably would have come and told me, "No, babe, why are you disobeying mom? Why are you standing from the table? You all know how mom is, you know how she is, just understand her. Just go back to the table and sit." But in this case, my hubby understood my point and protected me. So that is the power of embodying your feminine energy. Your man will naturally want to take care of you. Fixing cars, tires, plumbing, all that stuff, he will want to take care of you. Of course, there is an energy exchange, but I'm just telling you what is possible. It does not mean I am dumb. It does not mean I am weak. It just means that naturally he sees I need to protect my woman, regardless of the scenario. The third mistake you're making is yes, you love your marriage, but you may not have the right tools and techniques to express your needs and wants. Many women have not been taught how to communicate in a vulnerable way. So they result to being defensive and shutting down. 5 o'clock in the morning, where were you? Going on a warpath, having really long debates. And what starts to happen is, of course, it does not work. And if you continue doing this, you keep piling up the small issues. So I see two types of women. Women who just want to tackle all the problems head on. Yeah. These are the angry women who are so like on fire 24/7. And I see the women, these are still very brilliant women in the boardroom, but when they reach home somehow, they cannot express themselves. So what starts to happen is you start to pile up issues. And of course, you're walking around unhappy because your needs are not being met. So even if you're smiling, even if you're being intimate, you're going through a power struggle. It's like tit for tat. He says this, you say that. You don't want to react, you go silent. There'll be more and more and more and more distance. But when you have the right tools, the right techniques, right skills, even if you have issues, you will be able to repair because the energy in the relationship is right and you understand how to resolve the issues. That's how you create a warm and joyful relationship. I remember over the holidays, I think we had one of the biggest disagreements in a very, very long time. They don't happen a lot, but when they do, yeah, because we all have habits and patterns. And I was grateful for that moment because it showed me, first of all, yes, I'm human. We can disagree, but I realized it's not that you're having arguments, it's that you're not resolving the issues. Not resolving the issues. So if you don't resolve, you're not repairing anything. And this has been normalized. And of course, even when it comes to resolving issues, you need to know what are the deal breaker, what are the big issues, what are the small issues. Not everything can be an issue when it comes to men. Okay. So once you have the tools and skills, you can be able to get your needs met without fighting, without nagging, without all the resentment that you're carrying. So this is one of my other clients. I had a consultation with her. She was a master shouter, very violent, huh? And she really knew how to have, she was an activist for herself, let's put it that way. And of course, the man was resisting because you cannot fight a man. You know, this is the other thing. So once she learned how to communicate and speak her open truth, because there is a way of speaking to men that gets your needs met, she's like, she doesn't even have to ask twice. So I want you to reflect on which of these three mistakes are you making right now? And there is no shame, there is no judgment. Remember, we are all growing. We are all learning, we are all growing. I too am also learning and growing. Even if I may be a little bit ahead, there's really no difference between you and I, by the way. I was exactly where you are 4 years ago. Okay, so be honest. Which of these three mistakes are you also making? And yeah, feel free to write in the comments, I mean, on the chat or on your notebook. So I know at this point you might be like, okay, Linda, I know the mistakes that I'm making, but what should I do instead? Okay. And I have my system, I have my own formula that, and I call it the pampered, irreplaceable wife formula. Okay. And this is my feminine energy way of bringing back intimacy and connection without having to settle for less. I never went for couples counseling because I'm like, why do I want to go and argue with my hubby in front of people? Yeah, that's how stubborn I was. I never went back to the pastor because the pastor is the reason why I went 50-50 in the first place. I wanted to really just create a relationship that felt good to me. I wanted a lot of permission. And that is the work I do with all my women, all my ladies. You create a relationship that feels good to you. And of course, you need the right skill set. And this is the same framework I share with all my clients, and I'm about to share with you so that you can get the peaceful, happy, joyful relationship that you want most of the time. Because you will still have arguments if you have a masculine, and we all have masculine men, babe. I'm telling you, if your man went down on his knee, that's a man who knows. He is a certain man. Yeah. So what we are working is we are changing your own relationship patterns as well, but also starting afresh. And I say, any woman, whether you are in this marriage or you move to the next, you still need these skills. Let me put it into perspective. Around approximately 55% of fast marriages end in divorce. Approximately 67% of second marriages end in divorce. and roughly 74% of third marriages end in divorce. And the first time I saw those statistics, you would assume that the more you get married, the more you're supposed to have the experience so that you do not mess up in the second marriage. But, and of course, this made sense to me. People think you're supposed to change your man. It's easier to want to change your man than to change your own relationship patterns and habits. So once you realize that you also have a role to play, you're not consistently blaming, because even if you move from this man to the next man, there's still you who is the constant with all your relationships. And please, a caveat, this does not apply to violent marriages or your man is addicted. Sex, alcohol, drugs, please. If you're in a violent, abusive marriage, my take is always leave. You need to see a domestic violence specialist. You need to see a mental health expert, or if you're depressed, please go and get support from those people. My work is for women who are ready to elevate their marriages. Okay. So why am I different? I've been through separation, almost on the verge of divorce. So I understand your pain. Most of the feminine energy coaches, they focus a lot on dating content for single women. These are two very different areas. If you are dating, if you are single, that what you need to focus on attracting quality men, vetting quality men. Very different skill set from when you are in a long-term marriage because we are dealing with very different dynamics. We are dealing with our own trauma, our own wounding, our own relationship habits with a man who is invested in you. Okay, so I understand your pain. I also focus on both inner and outer work. Yes, we can visualize all day long. I love visualization. I did that before this session, but I need to take action. You need both. So we can say all the affirmations all day and night, and definitely I went through a period because I've been doing personal development for a really long time. I started my personal development journey, wow, maybe 7 years ago. And still, I did not resolve the issues in my marriage. Why? I never asked myself, what's my role in this? So that's why I tell all my clients, you can be doing all the personal development work. You can go for all the therapy. You can read all the books. But if you still do not know your own relationship patterns and habits, and you're still blaming, nothing will change. Okay. That's why for me, I incorporate both inner work and outer work. I also believe in self-responsibility. I believe in being a secure woman over being submissive. Some people come and tell me, Linda, teach me how to be submissive. Okay? I do not understand submission because when I look up the word submission, it means to give power over. Look up the meaning of some of these words. When a woman is secure in her worth, by the way, you will never tussle with a man. Naturally, you respect him and he feels like a man, and you're doing it from a genuine place. Submission for me feels like an act. Okay? So let's be clear. If you want to know how to be secure, I'm your babe. But if you want to come and learn how to submit and, I don't know, manipulate and act unbothered and detach, babe, I have done all those things. It doesn't work. Okay? So for me, it's about giving you the tools and skills that you can use, repair your relationship through and through. And remember, we are mothers. We have children who are watching us. Okay. And I also work with a very specific methodology that goes deep, okay, into your body, into your mind, and also on a spiritual level, because many of us are walking around with unconscious issues. You have no idea. You do not know why you keep getting triggered. You do not know why you keep reacting. You can't speak up your needs in bed with a man. You don't know why. Yes, you're having intimacy you're making love, but you just are not feeling it. You do not know how to tell him, not touch here, touch here. We are walking around with pain. And how does it manifest? Through our emotions. I'll speak through that. So, first things first, be clear on what your desires are. My work starts with, what do you want? Presence, romance, great communication, feeling supported, being well taken care of, to be like a team, be clear. Coaching and therapy is very different. Coaching focuses on your long-term desires. Where are you going? I'm not going to sit and dwell on your past. Yes, the past is there. I will acknowledge until a certain point. But what is it that you want? That's why when you come to me, let's be clear. And of course, it's okay. Over time, you will uncover more and more and more desires. Okay, so let's dive into, very quickly, time is almost up, into the 7 steps of being a pampered, irreplaceable wife so that you can get the connection. Number one, we need to rewire your blueprint on love. Many women grew up seeing painful marriages. You saw your mom being treated in a certain way. Maybe you are the daughter who used to stand and wait at the door for daddy to come in. You are the one who used to tell mom, I am sorry. She was so sad because she was having a lot of pain and dysfunction with her dad. You are the one who was taking care of her emotionally. Many women don't really trust men. Yes, even if you're married, there's all this messaging out here. Men cannot be trusted. Men cannot be like this. Every day, we are bombarded with a lot of information. In fact, even the other day, I saw something about the law that said that a wife has to quantify how much she brings to the marriage. Yeah. I think when you're tussling, if you're, God forbid, you're going through divorce or whatever, she has to quantify her value. That's the world that we live in. So it's not enough for your man to just love you and want to take care of you. We live in a world where people are always telling you, be careful, do not trust. Your mother probably told you before marriage, he will chase you. After marriage, you chase him. You're probably sitting with aunties and uncles, your own friends. I'm 43. At this point, nearly a huge number of my friends are divorcing and they're getting into second marriages. So there's a lot of pain around love. And that is why it does not matter what you say you want. It does not matter whether you say, I want to be fully provided for, I want intimacy. Your nervous system will not allow you to have a marriage that it feels you don't deserve. If your wiring is that of, I cannot trust men, I do not trust my husband, I fear he's going to leave me, men are pain givers, there is no way you will create a healthy relationship. That is why the first step, we have to change your perspective on men. And a lot of this is unconscious. A lot of this is unconscious. The most immediate thing I tell the ladies who I work with, pay attention to what kind of content are you consuming. Any lady who says, I don't see happily married women, where are all the happily married women? Every time I see a woman posting content like that, I'm about to tell her, because your frequency, you're not a match. Deep down, you do not believe deep, fulfilling love exists. So you will keep getting served what you unconsciously believe. So your marriage is an expression of your imprinting, your thoughts, your beliefs, of your fears, your perspective of men. That is what you will continue to create. That's why you can divorce John and go to James. But still, if you believe all men lie and cheat, guess what you will get? You will still get the same thing. And it's not your fault. Many of us did not have healthy role models. And that's why one of the best things I say for any career-driven woman, so that you can have the peace of mind, because your marriage is supposed to be a place of peace. You need that peace of mind so that you can focus on your purpose, on your work, on whatever it is, and give it the full attention. But it has to start with releasing some of these love blocks that you have. So, two clients. This, my first client, she came to me. She was on her second marriage. This is a PhD student, very smart, very brilliant lady. Her first marriage didn't work, had been married for a second time, and it was a 7-year marriage, and she was separated for 2 years. And she was seated in therapy, and by then she was doing a PhD in family relations. So this is to show two things. Sometimes you cannot see yourself. Sometimes you need someone to point out, and that's why they're called blind spots. And the issue was no lack of, she found her hobby because she was very brilliant. But the problem was her hubby did not have the initiative and focus. She was having money management with issues with him. It's like he was not so ambitious. And she was really feeling like, no, this relationship was not for her. And she was sitting in counseling with him for a year and a half with no way forward. And what eventually happened, and this is why I always say, sometimes your marriage is not for you. And for how we did this, we did the self-work, but it was very clear because we got to the point, there's a way I mean, that's my coaching methodology. She was able to express her needs to him. And the man was like, I can't meet those needs for you. And it was very clear her second marriage was not for her. So this is to give you a very honest take. And usually in many cases, a man will tell you, if you've done your work, it will be very clear. And where we are right now, she's given herself some time to digest that information because now she knows she has to prepare herself for divorce. And remember, even when I was doing this work with her, it started to become quite clear a bit early that this man was not the man for her. But the good thing about it was she knew there was a way she was picking her husband. There were things that she kept missing. She had her own habits. Remember, this was her second marriage. And the most important thing was she was able to be aware and make a decision that she had been sitting on for a really long time. Now, that is one way how, doing your work when it comes to relationship can end. But there's also another way. This other client came to me. She had just given birth to her second baby, and she was really feeling insecure around her man. She was feeling like he had stopped paying attention to her. Intimacy was down. There was a lot of arguments. And within no time, for the first time, they went for dinner just at home on the dinner table. We had created for her a pattern where she had her own activities to, feminine habits that she could use for the evenings. And he started telling her, no, don't go upstairs, spend more time with me, sit with me, be with me. And it's like slowly, this is what she said. He started opening up, he started talking, so amazing at the magic happening before her eyes. And yes, she was feeling unconscious, self-conscious, but the man was giving her everything, the attention, the affection, And she was able to get her needs met. And even at some point, she was like, Linda, is this man spying on my assignments? Because everything that she had wanted and craved for and she had to fight for in the past, she was getting it. That is the magic of opening yourself up to trusting men and knowing that your man loves you. And I always tell any of my clients, if your hubby is still with you right now, he's not gone, that man cares for you. Because believe it or not, unlike women, men listen to themselves. You know, they say this thing, they're like, oh, men think with their private parts. That is a man listening to himself and his desire and what he wants. If your man does not want you, he's not going to be there with you. If your man has not told you, I want a divorce, he still cares for you. Okay. So the second part is once you've mastered your love, rewritten your love blueprint, you have to master your emotions. Many of us are in our late 30s, moving into your 40s. The biggest issue I see is anger outbursts. There is nothing wrong with your emotions. That's why we are women. However, suppressing your emotions or not knowing what is triggering you is the problem. So once you master your emotions, and this is work I do with my clients, we cannot do anything without having to master your emotions. I have this theory that men don't just cheat with young women in their 20s because technically, you, a woman who is in the same age range, you have more to talk about. Your worldviews are more in sync, you know. So I feel, of course, when women hit 30 plus, all the pain, all the disappointment, all the anger, it starts to fester. And I want you to just think about some of your friends, your closest friends. What kind of conversations are you having with them? There's a lot of negativity. I've had to cut off a few of really good friends of mine because I just cannot stand the negativity. You cannot be complaining all the time. Yes, life is not easy, but find a better way because in the same breath, there are people who are learning how to be happy. So, number two, you have to master your emotions. How do you do that? You have to know that, yes, all emotions are trying to tell you something. Your sadness is telling you something. Your anger outburst is telling you something. What is it teaching you? And how do you become emotionally secure? So that's the second thing I think any wife needs to do. And if you're in this call and you're in your 40s, late 30s, early 40s, please go and get your hormones checked. Some of you are reaching perimenopause or whatever. Hormones are changing in this season. I'm not yet perimenopausal as per my gyna, but I'm going back for a check. But just get your emotions checked. So do not ignore the anger, do not ignore the sadness, but that does not mean you just stay in that state. Okay, your emotions are teaching you something. So this was my client. I almost did not take this babe. She came to me with a lot of resentment and a lot of negative emotions. Married for 20 years to her high school sweetheart. And the man had come in his 40s. They are both in their mid 40s. And the man had decided to move out and he wanted polygamy. The most painful thing, you know, I can just imagine being with a man since, is it high school or uni, going through life all that way, and then he wants polygamy. And of course, she also knew she had a role and she really wanted answers. 12, and she had signed divorce papers. I almost did not take this client because I was too scared. But she was so determined. We worked together. 12 weeks later, I feel like the most amazing woman within myself. The magnetic effect on my hubby is unimaginable. We worked through all this, and she knew her patterns, started to regain herself, knew how to communicate. Do you know the hubby was going to leave? He just came back home. And that other woman, whoever the hell, any woman I work with, if you're my client, do not even compare yourself to the other. There's nothing. Don't. She has her family back. And she told me, I wish more women would know what I know. I am feeling so much in love again with the same man. She just had one conversation, and the man was like, whatever you want, let's start over. Okay. So the third thing is understanding polarity, the masculine feminine dance in the relationship. This is a big section, and the biggest problem that stops women from feeling magnetic and wanting to do everything is this fear that your hubby is going to leave you. So many wives have self-esteem issues, and it happens a lot, yeah? Because we are maturing, we live in a society where they say a woman over 30 has no value, okay? So you find that with this low self-esteem, you fear your hubby is going to leave you, so you're desperate. You do not think that, you think that he has so many options for him, and you have none out there. So you want a lot of reassurance. And how does this also play? There's the other extreme who decide, I'm going to detach, I'm going to act unbothered. But still you're chasing because you still want his reaction. Even if you're dressing up and going out, you're not doing to make you happy. You're doing it so that you can win up. It's like tit for tat. And both of them does not work. It does not work. Because how the magnetism works in the relationship, there has to be space for him. There has to be that energetic space. But you cannot create space when you're seeking constant reassurance from him. It's like your entire worth comes from being with a husband. And even the women who are detaching, acting unbothered, and all this, they come to me and they're like, Linda, it's not fulfilling. Because fine, on day one, you'll act unbothered, which by the way is very masculine because you're thinking of what to do. You're thinking of what's the next trick. You're thinking of what's the next tactic. All this is manipulation. And men will sense your energy. You're being desperate. So with magnetism, what that does, you learn to be secure in yourself. There is a way to create the warmth and distance, but it's not through manipulation. And many women have had to manipulate their way through relationships for the rest of their lives until today, because healthy relationship does not need constant CPR. You're not having to constantly think of the next thing to do to get his attention. Okay, so we need that juicy magnetism in your relationship. Many women think chasing is just calling him, checking up on him. There's the mental chasing. For as long as your hubby occupies your mental space 24/7, you are still chasing him. You are still chasing him. And anything you chase runs away. So what we are having to do, we have to restore the polarity in the relationship. So two other clients, one, by the this one was a cheating wife. No shame. I always tell my clients, there is no shame. People have to do what they have to do. Okay. She was a cheating client and she realized she was not happy because it had become a tit for tat. She cheats, he cheats, he cheats, she cheats. And at some point, as the kids started becoming older, she's like, okay, how long will I keep having to do this game? Okay. So she came to me, and of course, her emotions were all over the place. And now she's telling me, Linda, I'm enjoying being a kept woman. I'm catching myself when I'm overdoing, when I'm controlling. And in fact, for her, her biggest desire was to pass on teachings to her daughter. She really wanted that because she knew she wanted something sustainable. This other client came to me and she was contemplating separation. She was stuck in the same cycle I think she was married for 13 years, but she kept being in the same cycle. And for her, her issues were she never used to get Nothing, not even a single gift, no money beyond food for the house, nothing. The man, in fact, she never even knew what this man's plans for their family was. She felt like she was alone in this marriage. And she told me the biggest change, her hubby stepped up. She's no longer challenging, she's learning to trust. And her hubby stepped up. In fact, when we were working together, she was about to celebrate her birthday. This man never even used to give her any Valentine's birthday, none of that stuff. For the first time, she woke up and found a birthday gift on the bed for her. So, if it is possible for them, it is possible for you. And now, in fact, I was catching up with her. So I was asking her, how is everything? She's having a very interesting problem. She's like, Linda, I feel so good. I no longer have to do any of these things. And now the issue is she's feeling bored. She has a lot of mental space. She has a lot of mental energy because, yeah, she's getting the relationship that she wants. So now we are moving her work to the next stage and next phase. Okay. So the fifth thing is, and this is part of the framework, having tiny dates with yourself. I could talk on and on and on about this. We are busy moms, we are busy career-driven women. We forget what attracted our men to us. Motherhood does a number to us. On top of your career, we forget we are busy, we are absorbed. And it's so easy to lose yourself in your marriage. The hobbies that you had, the how you used to dress, how you used to feel, what you used to love to do, the things that bring in play and joy. We lose that. And a big part of my framework is reminding you to regain yourself again. And you're not doing this as tit for tat to show your man. Of course, there's a lot of depth into this. There's the whole aspect of pleasure. There's the whole aspect of pleasure. I sat in my sex and relationship coaching certification. One of the things I had to do was to look at over 100 different types of private parts. As women, we are the only creatures who have an orgasm, not an orgasm, uh, a part of our body with 88,000 nerve endings dedicated to pure pleasure. Pleasure is a part of the feminine. A huge part of the ladies who come to me, intimacy has taken a back seat. For me, I will not teach you 101 ways to ride is whatever, because it does not make sense to do that if you're doing to perform. But a huge part of having tiny dates with yourself is really just around you embracing pleasure as a woman. Yes, there's the body pleasure. Yes, there's knowing your sensuality. There's knowing the pleasure points of your own body. There is that, but there's also the regaining yourself again. We get stuck in a routine. You know, women love comfort. But relationship cannot be built on comfort. Every single day your hubby comes, he finds you in a certain way. We have a certain routine. Wake up at this time, go do this, go do that. A huge part of tiny dates with yourself is breaking part of that routine, embracing pleasure, and also just bringing back some spark and magnetism. Because how long-term relationship works is, yes, you need comfort, you need routine, you need what's familiar, but you also need a bit of mystery. Okay, so that's a huge part of the work that I do. And we are almost done. This is, I won't even dwell on that. And then the sixth step is tiny dates with your hubby. Yes, we like romantic dinner dates. Valentine's is coming up. Your birthday is once a year. But for me, I believe any time with your man needs to be like a tiny date moment. And a huge part of this, there are 9 habits that kill attraction that us as women have. And one of these is advising. Don't wear this, wear that. Don't do it like this, do that. We all grew up hearing our men are our firstborn. He's not your firstborn. If there's nothing you take away from this session today, I want you to ask yourself, where are you giving your hubby unsolicited advice? Because your conversations with him should not be around you advising him on what to do. So I want you to think about the last argument that you had. What were you advising him on? And for this week, I want you to let go. Yes, there is a time for having conversations, but not when a relationship is filled with a lot of negativity. You're advising him, telling him you shouldn't have done this, you're doing this, you're doing that. And this is just one of 9 habits that I go through with my private clients. I find that most of them, when they take this out, when they stop doing some of these small habits, the one I want you to stop doing is advising. The man starts to feel like a man. I feel a big part of the problem, especially the babes who have their men cheating. And I always say there's no shame, huh? Because a man can take his energy elsewhere. He can decide to cheat with another woman. He can decide to overwork. He can decide to party with the boys. Any woman who feels like the attention is not coming, chances are one of these habits, it's part of your pattern. And yes, it is easy to say, let me stop doing it, but you also have to understand, why do you feel the need to do it? Okay, so these tiny dates, instead of advising him, I want you to remember, what is one thing you can appreciate him? Because yes, I'm telling you, when you're having tiny dates, and even this is something you can do today. If he comes to look for you in the bedroom or wherever, and he asks you, how was your day? I want you, after this call, just think of what's one thing he has done. Boring, normal thing that you can just be grateful for. Because you cannot have a relationship that's full of negativity. Nobody wants that shit. Okay, so that is a huge part of my work, how to have tiny dates with him and making every single moment enjoyable. A healthy relationship should not be 99% drama and pain. You should be happy 90% of the time. And your energy is what dictates how this relationship will move forward. And I always tell people, have you ever seen how a man will have one woman and then leave and go and get the next one? Same woman, but then it's like, why is she getting something different? This is something sometimes I ask myself. Like if you look at the first wife versus second wife conversations, I'm not saying they're better or anything, but it's just something. How is it that one man can give a woman the world and then you nothing? And this is where I just say it takes a lot of humility. Some people just know how to do relationships better. But the good thing is it is a learned skill. Okay? Last thing is communication. And you will notice I put communication at the very last. Knowing how to speak with your man, having the difficult conversations, knowing how to open your heart. This is a big one because women fear rejection. Knowing how to ask for things, knowing how to have difficult conversations about money, about him cheating, about whatever it is. It is a skill. And it comes at the very end because if your mindset, you do not trust men, you are negative and angry, you're always advising, you've lost yourself, you don't like your life, you are fearful that your hubby is going to leave you. So what conversation are you going to have? Versus You have the right mindset about love. You trust men most of the time. You are secure. You know how to handle your emotions. You have a great, fulfilling, juicy life. You are embracing pleasure. You understand how to relate with men. You're not mothering him, but you understand how to appreciate and be with man. You understand the opposite sex and you know how to speak in a way that connects. One man, two very different, one person, two very different approaches. So to me, that's my framework. And last story before we wrap up, this was my client. She was in deep pain and confusion. Very successful career lady. I think she's now relocated. She was given an expatriation job and she's moved to a different country with her hubby. And she was contemplating leaving her 6-year marriage. Of course, meeting her hubby was easy, but with time, she had noticed he was cold, he was distant, he was critical. And long story short, for her, she really understood being married to a man who you see every single day, especially if you have wounded energy, it won't be easy. She had a know-it-all attitude because, I mean, all smart women, they think they know. And I say, if you think you know, why don't you have the results? Okay? But she came in wanting to grow, wanting to learn. Okay. And what happened? Immediately, she started to see how her interactions with her hubby changed. He stepped up flowers, gifts, trips, dinners, surprise events. She was amazed. And like I mentioned, her career, she's got an expatriation. In fact, she was expecting a second baby. This was a baby in her late 40s, and she's happy. So, if it is possible for her, you can get what you deserve. So, this is my 7-step framework. Rewire your love blueprint, your emotional maturity and security, knowing how to create attraction and polarity, tiny dates with yourself to regain yourself, tiny dates with hubby, and then having the conversation. This will help you. The tools and skills around this will help you sustain a happy, healthy relationship. And one thing you need to know, you will never lose a man that's yours because all relationships go through a period of a distance. It is normal. And as human beings, we are supposed to grow and change. And I always say, any woman, you are on your personal growth journey anyway. Okay, so this is my formula. And I know you may be wondering, how can I get the similar results? You can get similar results. You can feel at peace again, regardless of the fighting and the distance. If a man is yours, you can outgrow this roommate power struggle phase and start afresh and get the life that you want. I want to speak a little bit on being hyper independent. Many of us want to fix things by ourselves. You may want to figure things out for by yourself. You may want to sit with a pen and paper and say, okay, what are my blind spots? What are my areas of growth? But I know at some point you cannot see your blind spots because if you saw them, you'd have a different kind of relationship. And also, you are supposed to be supported. It's okay to be supported. Smart women do not waste their time reading countless thousand books. Yes, it's great, but smart women understand their time is precious and they know it is okay to ask for support. So you do not have to do everything by yourself. And this is regardless, by the way, whether it is with me or anybody else, whichever other coach you want to take this methodology to, if they are telling you to, they want to help you reconnect your relationship, ask them to take you through all those things because I am yet to see a happy relationship that a woman has not had to work deeply on those areas. Okay. So last thing is my invitation. If you feel you want me to be able to work with you and assess your relationship, if you feel like you're ready to feel close again and shift the pattern and just feel alive and good and at peace as a woman, I am offering 60-minute calls. There is the level of investment. You will get to speak with me, and I will identify, I'll basically give you a roadmap, your own customized roadmap of what I feel you need to do and where your vision is, and so that you can get the close, connected, intimate marriage that you want. Okay. And if I will feel, and I'll be open and honest, my private tutoring 12-week program is a huge investment. It's an investment on yourself. However, the best way to work with me right now is through this 60-minute call. And if you want to bring back the love that you feel that you deserve, feel free to DM me the word assess, and I will share with you the details. And know that this is first come, first served. Slots are limited. And my take for you is, babe, don't get divorced just yet. Don't. You can start afresh with feminine energy. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful. And oh my God, time has really gone over. I will stop sharing the screen. And thank you so much. Time has gone over. Thank you so much, ladies. I will let you be. I have a call with my son. We are going to speak with him. He had swimming practice. So if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to DM me. It was wonderful hanging out with you. You're most welcome. So once again, if you want to speak with me one-on-one, DM me the word assess on Instagram, and I'll share with you the details. Bye.